welcome back to my channel. I want to do a video now about what to accept and not accept in life as a general rule of thumb that I have learned. Obviously everyone's going to have different boundaries, but I think as a human being we do all have somewhat universal, okay, that's a lie, everyone has different boundaries, but I do think that most people can, I'm going to just use general parameters here that most people can probably relate to. Or some people can relate to, I honestly don't know, but I do think as a human being, like, certain things are just acceptable and some things aren't. But again, this is all from my perspective. So basically, I've done a lot of videos, I try not to go on to specifics that have an issue that is with certain people. If someone is being outright rude to you for reasons that are beyond your control and basically trying to somewhat manipulate the situation in order to keep you, to make you have some sort of discomfort, to somewhat leverage themselves, would say is a no. Number two, if someone is trying to use you for something, be that money, sexual pleasures, food, something that's negative that doesn't have a mutual benefit necessarily. It's not something that you would go out and pursue. It's not something that you both would necessarily choose. I think sometimes this can work for the long term, but then there can be resentment built towards situations like that, and it's just not good. So there we go. Another thing that I would not accept in life, in a career situation, if someone's being really bossy and out of line, I think there needs to be some, for me, I think it's just about learning your own personal boundaries, but I think there needs to be some give and take with this, because you can never tell what someone else is going through in their career life. But if it's consistent that, for example, your boss is just an outright pushing your boundaries 24/7, I understand some people have sociopathy, I do understand that, but it might be worth considering a change of job or a change of environment, or potentially, it's hard if they've not done anything logistically wrong, unless they probably will have done. A boss putting you down 24/7 is something that's logistically wrong and can be taken to a further level, but sometimes it can't always be, you can always go higher of course, but sometimes it's just petty things that might not be something that you would want to take to a higher place even though you could. But it's really just something where I haven't had this happen a lot, but I have had a certain boss that really was just intolerable for me, just for so many reasons, like just very rude, and it can just be about differences that are just inevitable in life. So it's really about thinking about your own position, whether you want to be there, but also knowing moving through life that you will encounter those type of people that really just are not very tolerable, and these people, they will victimize someone that they deem manipulatable. That word, manipulatable, let's just use that as a word. Yeah, sometimes it's not something that you can control. You can't control how you're made or how they're made. So yeah, that would just be about the situation, but I would not accept that as good conduct, good management, and it would just be how you'd want to handle that. Would not accept it though. Not helpful at all. Just kick off in any way that allows that to be gone, because that's not something we want to deal with in life. Life's too short to deal with that. So there we go. Moving on. So another thing that I would not accept in life, through my own life experience, people that really degrade you, and I think there's a difference between having understandable banter with a friend that literally is like, haha, yeah, well, that time you blah 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 blah, like that's banter, and people do have different levels for this, but it's when people literally do just like degrade you for like something that they expect you to, like I used to have this as a child, so I built up like resilience to this. Or obviously everyone has this, like I was a sensitive person, so I built up that wall to, like, if someone degrades me, like it's not always, like, not to take it personally, but at the same time it's not nice for someone to do that. And if someone is like degrading you, like, oh yeah, well, like, oh my god, like, look at your nose, god, it's so ugly, like, oh, like, you've got a moustache, like, blah blah blah, like, you can't like, that's degradation. That is not healthy or helpful for the person. And you might be able to tolerate that, and I'm not saying like this never happens in an acceptable-ish situation where you can kind of let it go, but if that's a consistent thing, it just means that like that person, if that's actually offending you, it just means that person is like, they're not aware of you, for example, which is a red flag, and they clearly are not able to be on your level and feel comfortable because they have to degrade you to bring you down to their level, and not helpful, not healthy, not good. So there's that. What else should I not accept? Being scapegoated. This is a hard one because as a child, if you go through scapegoating, it's quite difficult to understand this fully and how this all plays out, because I do think, but yeah, that's quite a big topic. I think we'll just leave that one. What else would we not accept? This is fun. This is building some more boundaries, because you just don't know. You haven't built discernment as a child. You just don't know this stuff. This is fun. This is like a reward ceremony for all the crap that I've had to endure and had to learn from. Obviously this isn't obvious. What, actually,